It wasn't an easy decision to go to Ukraine. Friends, family, everyone told me, don't go because Ukraine is too dangerous. Missiles are flying here and there. But for me, it was a call. Ukraine needs our support and help. If going there, sharing their story with all of you out there will make a change, then it's worth going. With my visa, tickets, and everything, which was sorted by a lot of work I had to do, but the hardest part of all that was tell my parents that I'm going to Ukraine. After SB60, I had a call with my mom, and I was about to say her that I'm going to Ukraine, and she suddenly said this to me. One of your pictures suddenly fell down and broke, which was a sign that something really bad is going to happen. So I was really scared. I don't want to make my parents scared. There was only one choice left: to go forward, help Ukraine, because Ukraine needs our help, and this was the way to stand with Ukraine. So I just went with all that I had. It was around a 30 hours journey from Germany to Warsaw, from Warsaw to Ukraine, Kyiv. So let's go to Ukraine now and see what happens over there. Entering a country at war, I set out to uncover the hidden impacts of this conflict, the devastating toll on biodiversity, on health, and on the lives of everyday people. As an Indian youth activist, I came to stand with Ukraine and to share their story with the world. Arriving in Ukraine was a mix of emotions, uncertainty, excitement, and honestly a bit of fear. I came with the hope of making a difference, but I didn't fully understand what it would mean to be here. Standing here now, looking out over Kyiv, I feel that purpose more deeply. To stand with the people here, to witness their resilience and to share their story. But reality set in faster than I expected. That very first night, an air alarm sounded, jolting me into the reality of life in a conflict zone. The electricity went out, the lifts stopped, and there was no water. I had to run down flights of emergency stairs from the top floor, feeling my way into darkness. The alarm echoed through the stairwell, making every step more urgent. It was my very first glimpse of what people here endure daily. Thankfully, the alarm didn't last long. My friend Ihor helped me through those first anxious moments, guiding me to a safer place and giving me the sense of calm amidst the chaos. I learned quickly how resilient the people here are. As the days passed, I adopted. Metro station and the basement became safe zones, and the alarm became a familiar reminder of the reality Ukrainians face every day. Once the air alarm is done, we have to go outside through the metro station, metro back, stairs back upstairs to see the top, and also it's 120 meters down into the metro station, and this is used as sort of the places to hide when there's an air alarm. The next day morning, I called my parents. They were still worried, uncomfortable with me being here, but I knew this journey mattered. That's when Ihor, my friend from Fridays for Future, came and invited me to see firsthand the toll of this war is taking on Ukraine's biodiversity. I agreed eagerly to learn what the people here are fighting so hard to protect.
My name is Yuri Sumena. I'm climate activist of Fridays for Future Ukraine, and now we are in the center of Kyiv. As you see, it's vehicles from the war. It's Russian vehicles. It's civilian cars, as you see, which destroyed in different regions of Ukraine during this war. This war was financed by money from fossil fuels, a fight against climate crisis. And if you don't want that your country looks like this, please fight against climate crisis.
Hearing Ihor's words made the reality feel even heavier. With this in mind, we left the city, centered and headed to the forests and natural areas under threat.
We are in Vitachev, a village near the Dnipro River in Ukraine. It's a place to symbolize the beauty of Ukrainian nature. Ukraine occupies less than 6% of European land area, but before the war, 35% of Europe's biodiversity could be found in Ukraine. More than 70,000 species of animals and plants, including rare or endemic, lived in Ukraine. Ukraine is one of the main corridors for migratory species traveling from different parts of our planet. Because of Russian invasion, all this richness is under threat.
As we walked through these areas, I could feel the weight of Iho's messages, the urgency of protecting this ecosystem and the impact that the war has on both nature and humanity. Later, I met another friend of mine, Mr. Oleg. He took me to an old children's park that now feels like a memory of what it was once. The place, once filled with laughter, is now marked with trenches, weapons and mind. But children still come here, and the people like Ihor risk their life clearing the debris and marking the dangerous areas.
We stand here in a forest on the outskirts of Kiev. In the early days of the full-scale war, Russians used this forest to shell Kiev. Even now, 2 years after the Ukrainian army forced Russians to flee, this forest still bears the scars of the war. Overall, a third of all Ukrainian forests have been affected by the war. It is a huge area comparable to Switzerland in size. Mines and unexploded ammunition now endanger 30% of Ukraine's land, forests, fields and rivers. Clearing Ukraine of mines will take decades. In June 2023, Russians blew up the Kakhovka Dam. A gigantic wave from the largest water reservoir on the Dnipro River flooded the area downstream. A Russian-made flooding killed thousands of wild animals and polluted the Black Sea, shared by 6 European and Asian nations. It was an egregious violation of international law and is considered an act of ecocide, the mass killing of all living things. It is crucial to record the environmental damage, collect evidence of war crimes and bring Russia to justice, so that no other aggressor country in the world would ever repeat such atrocities against nature in the future.
Walking through the fields of Ukraine, I couldn't help but think about the impact of this destruction has beyond Ukraine's borders. Ukraine has been one of the world's major food producers. Its grain and the oil exports feeding nations across Europe, Asia and Africa. All of this is in danger. The farmlands, the stories, the lives of those who depend on Ukraine's harvest. It's all at risk, caught in the crossfires of conflicts.
In the fields of Ukraine, one of the major producers of food for the major parts of Europe and also for the Asia Pacific, mostly sent to Pakistan and other countries.
Grain and oil from Ukraine feed 400 million people in Africa and Asia. Russia is burning fields, greenhouses, and attack ships delivering food from Ukraine to the countries in need.
All of this is in danger.
We headed back to the city with Mr. Oleg giving us a ride. The road felt heavy, almost as if the weight of everything I would seen was sitting with me, quiet yet intense. Once back in the heart of Kiev, I took time to explore places like Independence Square, a site that now feels like a memorial. Flags and photographs stand there. People once gathered to celebrate and protest. Now it's a place marked by loss. The flags fluttered in the wind, each one a silent tribute to a life lost. I could see families and friends coming to pay respect, and I couldn't shake the sorrow in their eyes. It was overwhelming. The city, once so full of life, now scarred with grief and resilience. It was a reminder of how deeply the war has touched everyone here. Not just those who on the front lines, but families, friends, entire communities. The night, sleep didn't come easily. The air alarms kept turning on and off, breaking through the silence. Every time the air alarm sounded, it was a reminder that peace here is fragile and fleeting. Even in moments of calm, the alarms are never far away. It's a constant tension, a reminder of the uncertain reality that people here face every day. The next morning, Ihor and I took the metro to meet another friend, Anastasia, a member of Extinction Rebellion Ukraine. We were introduced through Ihor, and I was eager to hear her perspective on the crisis. Our destination, though, was a kids' sports center destroyed by a Russian missile. Anastasia met us on her bike, waving through the fractured streets as resilient as the city itself. In front of the sports center, a group of children played football outside. Their laughter contrasted with the shattered structure behind them. A bittersweet scene of life persisting in the shadows of destruction.
Hi everyone, so my friend Ihor from Friday's Future connected me with Anastasia from Extinction Rebellion, Ukraine. So we want to talk to her about how things happen here. You can see the destruction here. So what's the situation over here?
Right now we stand in front of a kids' sports center destroyed by a Russian missile a couple of months ago. Russia is one of the top 3 global producers of oil and gas, and significant parts of the funding for this war come from countries buying coal, oil and gas from Russia. If we continue to base the economy on dirty fossil fuels from which authoritarian regimes feed and rise, violence and brutal wars will continue to be allowed around the world, and the climate crisis will intensify. The whole world must unite against fossil fuels, dictators, and wars.
Anastasia's words echoed a harsh truth: the connection between our energy choices and the power structures that sustain conflict. Her plea wasn't just for Ukraine, but for all of us to reconsider how our energy sources shape our world.
Back into another friend, so it was too sunny outside, and I thought we'll have something.
Ihor and I stopped to grab something to eat. While waiting, I noticed generators everywhere. Outside small shops, large stores, even residential buildings. Fossil fuels powering everything, it seemed. The war had left power systems broken, and generators filled the gap. The reliance on fossil fuel, while essential for daily survival, only added to the environmental toll.
So look here around all these buildings on generator, but this building residential, they put solar panels so they can use elevator and go to the 16th floor. And actually I'm head of the laboratory of applied climatology at the Ukrainian Hydrometeorological Institute. So I work very close with climate change and with particularly adaptation to climate change. So one part of adaptation we experienced here in Ukraine when we don't have electricity, and for this we have some adaptation measures like here. So the solar panels on the roof of the residential building, so people can use it, for example, for elevator. Since many our power plants were destroyed by Russians, so we have opportunity, in fact, not rebuild, but make better and make like here the solar panels. So we reduce with this our emission, and we have electricity for our heating and for everything. Say that this Russian-Ukrainian war will have indeed very big impact on climate change issues, and it's not direct, it's more like indirect, because at the moment actually we see that all these financial flows goes to weapons. So many countries spend their budget for weapons to be safe, and it's actually reasonable. And otherwise, if we will not have this war, we will be able to use this finance to make solar panels and some other stuff, so Global South can use the same funding to be more resilient to climate change. So I believe this is the most important fact on climate change. Some other impact, it's like physical, of course it's additional emissions, and they are comparable with, so let's say, developed industrialized country like Netherlands, for example. So only war is like another country with emission. So it will impact, of course, Global South, because it will have much more warming. Well, some positive aspect I can say. because I found, well, it's positive, of course, in some just brackets, let's say, because I know that Global South already suffer from climate change. So it's catastrophic floods, it could be tropical cyclones and big destroyment, absolutely. And they can use our experience in rebuilding in such more climate resilient way. So we can be like a pilot, like an example for many such countries, in fact. So we can do it together. We can discover the way how better to live in such changing world.
Her message was both sobering and inspiring, a call for resilience, an invite to learn from Ukraine's adaptation journey in the midst of conflict. We took a mashruka to see some of Kyiv's important landmarks, places that hold deep historic and cultural significance for Ukrainians. We passed by the Mariinsky Palace, the Chernobyl Monument, and stretches of forest.
So we are in front of the Mariinsky Palace right now, and it's the place where RRR movie, where the Natu famous Natu dance was done. So hope I can try going in, but it's like a little bit protected. But let's ask.
It's a restricted area. You cannot go there.
Hey, Alexandra, it's so nice to see you. So this is my friend Alexandra. We met at Koya, right?
Koi. It was Koi.
In Egypt. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
It was a long journey. I was finding a way here to see how my Ukraine is doing. So I just came here, and it's nice to see you here.
It's nice to see you too.
So what's happening? What's the situation right now? What's the impact of all this happening here?
War is affecting climate very much directly. You can feel that on the Chernobyl area, as you mentioned, because this territory before, it's a national reserve that had a lot of animals and plants that were living there, untouchable for many years, and they formed their own kind of sphere, and they survived there, though they might not even be alive. They might be extant on another parts of Ukraine. Yeah, because there was an influence on people, from people or from different production and so on. So that area was very safe for those animals, and it always stayed untouched. When the occupation of that territory, of that region happened, for that more than a month that the troops were there, these animals in these areas with the trees that were so old, and animals again that are in the Red Book of Ukraine because they're becoming extinct, they became very much limited in what they can do and what are their survival moments. And for that reason, this area now also it's very mined still, and it's problematic to mine that territory. So now, for example, people cannot go to Chernobyl and see that, and also the protection services, they cannot go normally to that area as well because it's mined. And for that reason, we don't know fully the problem, the issue, and the scale of the issue with those animals and plants that were there on that territory. So that area is limited now, and for us it's very important to understand what are our next steps on the ecology matters, how to help that area and how to save that. And if we're talking about the other areas and other problems, definitely war have heard about Khovka, about the dam that became that was exploded by Russians, and for that matter also so many fish, plants, species were destroyed. So if you look at every region of Ukraine, not to make it too long because we could speak about it for hours, if very shortly the impact of war on ecology in Ukraine is huge, and we do not understand fully how to manage that.
From the Mariinsky Palace, we continued to Chernobyl, but like so many sites, it was closed to, off limits due to the ongoing conflicts and the Russian invasion which made the area unstable. So we continued to the Chernobyl monument.
It was shocking to learn like 2.4 million hectares of forest was burned, including national parks. Heavy military vehicles, damaged soils, use of mines and other dangerous weapons produce serious ecological issues, threat to animals, much more than we can't imagine. Look at the Black Sea as an example. Dying fishes, loss of ecosystem, pollution, destruction due to various reasons, from untreated sewage facilities to contamination due to toxic substances like oil spill as a result of war. Health is another serious issue. Because of the war and the climate change, not just the biodiversity is dying, people are too dying.
stressful moment. One air siren, one air alarm is stressful already, not talking about living in blackouts or under the bombardings. So it did affect the mental health generally. But now a lot of people, they ignore the issues that are connected to it. So we have major problems with the mental health because, number one, we are not sure how people take that, especially of older generation. Older generation people, they sometimes don't think about mental health because they were not educated enough about this. We have our military who come back to civil life, and it's problematic for them because they used to live in trenches with everyday bombardments, shootings, and it becomes their reality every day. It's a trauma. So when they get back to civil life, they might hear something like, even you can hear on my background, the motorcycle going, the car going to, for example, too noisy. And that can affect the person, and it can start, click a trauma or a panic attack or something like that. The next generation, they are raised up seeing weapons, seeing a lot of, cruel things that no child, for example, no teenager should see. So I do think that our next generation, they will be different from us in the way what they find complicated to deal with and what is not. The generation that is here right now for sure will be a traumatized one. But for us, the main task for now is to understand how to find the balance and how to give them understanding of what can be done, how it can be done, what can be treated. We find the way to find that balance and find a way to treat it with understanding that this is a problem, this is a massive problem, and we cannot ignore that. I'm sure that the next generation will be able to live their lives, to keep moving despite the traumas that have been gained here.
The landmarks of Kiev hold memories and heritage, but now they also carry the shadow of conflict, a reminder of the deep and lasting scars that the people and the land bear every day. As I walked through the streets one last time, memories of these days filled my mind. Each moment felt like a glimpse into the resilience and spirit of the people here. From quiet parks transformed by conflict to the strength of the friends standing up to their homeland, my time in Ukraine showed me the true cost of war and the hope that endured despite it all.
I'm exhausted. It was hectic 10 days in Kiev. I made it. I talked to all my friends. I learned a lot of Kiev, and also you guys as well. You have seen the Kiev. So you can see the monument of friendship behind me, which is broken. So is Kiev and also Ukraine. So it's time we take action. We have seen the effects of war and climate change on the people here, almost like on all sectors: mental health, biodiversity, environment, agriculture, lot. And we need to take action. As I stand here in front of the friendship monument, I would like to hope that our world has more peace and that can create more greener tomorrow for our future and bring a better future for everyone, everywhere.
10 days filled with lessons, challenges, and experiences I will carry with me forever. Tomorrow I will leave this country, but Ukraine and its people have left a mark on my heart.
I'm just leaving right now. Apple Express is here, and thank you so much for watching the video, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye!
This is my friend.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Gokul, for everything.
So I want to go back home after seeing all that in Ukraine. Because when there's no flights, I have to take bus from Ukraine to go to a European country so that I can fly back home and just reach back to Geneva. Right now, in Doctors Without Borders, they're working on different wars and how wars have been affecting health and climate change across the world. I just have a friend here who I met, so let's talk to him, and I want to share my experience with him and learn more about how we can solve this issue of war across the world.
Actually, it's very clear that the wars and conflict around the world have a huge impact on the ability of the people to move around. They are affecting their ability, plus injuries, which is the obvious one, but there's also other impacts, including people have to leave their houses, people don't have the access to basic services like health services and education services. But another above that, they also have huge impact on the mental health and the children, the women, and everyone living in the country when it comes to the health and health services. And speaking about wars, actually a lot of people don't know that, but wars can cause a lot of climate pollution around the world. So nowadays, with the amount of the war and the explosion that's happening around the world, play a huge role into the idea of the climate and pollution and health of the people. And we see a lot of cases that is happening because of using certain weapons that are chemical or non-chemical or even normal weapon that is affecting the children and others. And I think it's the whole thing about this intertwined is human nature, a human, I wouldn't say nature, but a human greed and inability to solve the political dilemma that they're having among each other. I totally believe that climate can be solved, a lot of conflict can be evaded, but we don't have enough political will to do it. We try to stay neutral. Our main focus is to provide help to people who are suffering from wars, who are suffering from a climate crisis, lack of floods, storms, droughts around the world, and including their mental health life. But at the end of the day, the world needs to move for a better solution to solve the problems.
So that's from Awad, our friend from Doctors Without Borders. So we were talking about what was happening in Ukraine, that was a sad situation, how he has mentioned a lot of things about how mental health is being affected, how climate is being affected, and how this war is something really bad for us, like as a global community as well. I'm just leaving back today. Today I'm going back from Geneva to India, and the main thing I would like to highlight is that the flights that we take, we have to detour, because mostly that usually without wars, that airspace over Ukraine was available for flights to go, but due to wars, the flights has to take a longer route, more air, expensive on fuels which emit carbon dioxide and much more, and cause global warming, and that's also contributing to climate change. Hope the world has some more peace, and let's build a world better for everyone. Thank you so much. And
we came out alive. We came out alive. Some better men, some better women didn't survive, but we came out alive. The food wasn't great, beds were made in haste. The government issued numbers and they took away our names. The food wasn't great, the tenements were made in haste. The government issued numbers and they took away our names. Flag our race and over our lane. Flag our race and over our lane. The people's army, they never came. The dead were buried in unmarked graves. Flag our race and over our lane. Flag our race and over our lane. The people's army, they never came. The dead were buried in unmarked graves. But we came out alive. We came out alive. Finally made it all alive. We hopped in my car and all you said was baby drive. Don't look back, I can shield your eyes. You don't wanna turn to salt, there's no compromise. And all I got is you and all you got is me. If we're all that's left, I guess that's what it's meant to be. And we're gonna miss our friends and our family, but if we're all that's left, I guess that's what it had to be. And I can hear the shots in the distance. Turning up the music, we won't listen. Foot on the gas, fire the pistons. All we'll worry about is just existing. We lost a lot of friends. We always said we weren't meant to make it. Oh,